Hey everyone, welcome back to Obidata Family TV, and this is Jessica Chinwe. Today we are on about go and verify what Peter Obi has done so far, and of course I'm not alone. With me today is my beautiful co-host.
I am Sharon Enemchukwu. It's nice to be back.
How are you doing?
I'm very well.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I saw that you were yawning, and I wanted to ask if you're hungry.
No, I'm not hungry. I think I'm maybe if I'm hungry for change, for a better governance.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're supposed to talk about all the past achievements of Peter Obi, but before we dive into today's discussion, right, let's talk about the fact that Tinubu came to Anambra yesterday. We've been talking about this issue, and it's kind of funny.
It is.
But then I watched a video. I wasn't there, but a lot of people were there, and they said the least person collected 2K. I mean, that's so small. That's even small. Like, what's that?
the money that the new CBN rule that they should go and deposit money made them give 2K, because normally you should be giving, 10K per person, the kind of and the bullion van, out of the bullion van is 2K he gave them.
Imagine, as if we are cheap.
He should have given more.
But it's crazy because
talking about his visit, and there's something I noticed yesterday. I saw a lot of buses when I was coming to work. I saw a lot of transport companies coming into Anambra State, and it was as though they were importing people,
right?
Yes,
exactly.
Those were not Anambra.
I saw them as well.
Anambra people. Yeah, there were a lot of buses on the road. They were stopping at different junctions. You could see them. So yes, you really spent a lot of money, and I'm glad that you did. But we know who we are voting for.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for your
Exactly.
contribution.
I love that a lot. And I think that a lot of people went there just to have fun.
Of course.
Because when Tinubu was speaking, they were just laughing.
I feel
like I've missed a concert show, like a comedy concert.
Like, for that matter. Concerts are a bit expensive.
Yes.
So this one was free and we missed it, but I don't really care.
Anyway, it's fine. Let's dive into what we have to talk about today. So yesterday we were talking about the fact that Peter Obi helped the economy of Anambra when he was still the governor of Anambra State. So today we'll be diving into the security parts, and we all know that each and every area or each and every sector, Peter Obi looked into it. There was none that was neglected, and the vision was so much that personally I felt like, how can one man be able to achieve all of these things? But it's just so amazing to realize that there is no aspect in government or in society or in development that Peter Obi did not touch. Right? So can you give a recap of yesterday, then we'll dive into what we have to talk about today.
Yesterday when we were talking about how Mr. Peter Obi literally changed the face of Anambra economy from 0 to 100. Real quick, we mentioned how he partnered with private investments. When we talk about private, we talk about we looked at Innocent Motors and how he helped Innocent Motors. We talked about foreign investments as well, how they came into Anambra State, because before then there was no such thing. We looked at how the sub-Saharan savings, that he was the first governor to start. He saved money, he invested money. Then we also looked at what he did for providing jobs for people in terms of building infrastructures, the resort centers, the hotels that he built, transportation business as well. So we looked at a whole lot that we couldn't even touch everything really. But
we didn't really exhaust everything, but then we'll have to just dive into the other part so it will make the discussion juicy. So today let's talk about the security aspect of Anambra. One of the prevailing issues then was that security in Anambra was so bad. It was terrible, to the extent that robbers came to rob banks, and while they were robbing banks for 4 hours straight, or for 5 hours, what am I saying? Yes, for 4 hours straight up, they were robbing, and there was no police intervention.
Honestly,
it was crazy. It's just as if I came to your house and I started robbing you, and nothing happened in the whole of Anambra State.
And it was like it was a normal business now, because we have businesses running from 9 to 5, and this was 4 hours. So they already had that. This is just another day at the office.
Yes.
They were going to rob banks.
Yes.
And the funny thing is that it's not just as if they went to someone's house. This was bank robbery, and it's no jokes. And they were robbing at different yes, and they were doing this for hours. And that is what really broke my heart, because when they say insecurity in Anambra State was bad, people might not really understand just how bad it was. So this is an example of how terrible it was, robbing a bank in Anambra State for 4 hours. And we talk about how bad it is. Let's also look at the how kidnapping was also.
I was going to go to that.
Yes,
part. And kidnapping was so terrible then, and there was this popular kidnapper. Evans, and then he was trending. I don't think I was in Anambra then, but I heard a lot of stories, and I was afraid for Anambra people, because what is going on there? But do you know that it was through Peter Obi's tactics that he was able to. He didn't even chase Evans. He himself ran away. Because the whole security team was so tight. He could not even continue. Yeah, so that's something to really look into. Do you want to?
Yes, because something I also, when I was reading an interview with the former commissioner of police at that time, he said something how Mr. Peter Obi funded them, gave them logistics, gave them vehicles, gave them weekly allowances. And give them fuel and everything they need. He also built, there was this, their headquarters then was at Okuzu, thereabouts. Yes, the SARS headquarters then was at Okuzu, and the fence that he built for them was actually so solid that you couldn't attack them from outside. The way the way they built that. So I just noticed how by funding the police, we see how they actually we started seeing results. So it's prompted me to think, is the reason why the Nigerian police is this negligent or this bad, is it because of lack of funding? Can it be as a result of lack of funding?
Because
because we see how when the commissioner of police was talking, he was saying things like, okay, yes, they already had this and this in plan, but then the logistics was not there. I've heard stories of police vehicles running out of fuel
stories, I've seen it. Pushing your truck.
Really? Okay.
Was that bad?
I heard stories about that, and then we see that you know that when it concerns security, there are actually there are equipment that we need. There are kind of facilities that we need to run to actually protect efficiently. So we see how Mr. Peter Obi came into that picture and just changed everything by funding as well.
Speaking about funding, right, let me also add that Peter Obi provided about 500 buses to 177 communities to enhance police operation and all that. And that's amazing because it shows that, like you said, it's not about you doing your job, but they need these things. They need funding. Talk about the fact that police go all out to take money and all this. I think when they are well provided for, the necessity when it comes to the money, the bosses and everything, I think they will do their job well. And do you know that when it comes to security, it's not everybody. Like, I think there is how do I put it, there is a drive to become a security agent, because you cannot tell me to go and be watching people. I will run. I will leave my post and run away. But I think there are people who like to do these things. So they don't really need, they just need the resources. They just need money and encouragement. Exactly. But then when the governments do not appreciate them or provide all of these things, I don't think they will take their job well.
They will not take, talking about taking their job well and taking it seriously. The commissioner also mentioned that during that time, Mr. Peter Obi was calling them weekly for updates. What are you people doing? Exactly. He was showing concern. Okay, he was also making suggestions. I feel like if you do this, this is what will happen and that. And that just goes to show that most public offices are being neglected. And when something is neglected, what do you expect of it? Of course, they're not going to pay enough attention to it personally. They're not going to do their jobs. But Mr. Peter Obi was actually personally involved to the extent that he was making those calls and they were giving him feedbacks. And and you know, there is something, that is what I love about Mr. Peter Obi, his communication skills.
Top notch.
It's top notch. There's this direct communication to to the people that are actually suffering, or the people that are actually undergoing a thing. You mentioned about how he was able to provide over 500 buses to 117 communities in Anambra State, and we've seen how he knows that, okay, this is what these people need, because then we know, was it? Yes, Professor Stella O'Connor that said that he went from community to communities, local government to local governments in public buses. You also mentioned that.
Yes, trying to figure out what the problem is from the masses, right?
Exactly. True. So I feel there's this gap that usually exists between the top and the bottom. Yes. He finds a way to just bridge that gap. I really like that.
Yeah, I love that as well. And also, let's talk about the fact that I think the former CP of police then commended that the fact that I think they employed him because of the ranging issues, the security problem then, and he figured out that not just by himself, but through the help of Peter Obi and the government at that point in time, they realized that there were lots of issues, not just the robbers or the kidnapping going on, but then they tried to really examine the problem at that point. What was causing this whole robbery? What was causing this whole thing?
Yes, agitation.
And they realized that one of the things they realized is that the police there, they were so indifferent. I think there were too many, and they've been there for a very long time. So they were so indifferent. They didn't really put any effort. It was just the normal come to work, go home, checkpoints, and all of those things. So through the help of Peter Obi and the CP of police then, they were able to figure out the reason why this thing was still going on, and that was what helped them, to deal with the security issues.
Yeah, to add to that, I think one of the things they also figured out was the issue of trust. The people of Anambra State lacked trust in the police. So in a situation where they maybe got a tip that something like this is going to happen, they're not going to give it to the police because they did not have that trust. They didn't see the police as capable of that time to help them. And you said something that they had become complacent because they've been there for too long. And it's true, because the Commissioner of Police also said the same thing. He said that he noticed the same thing, that the police that were in Anambra State as of the time had been there for 10 years, 5 years. So they had become part and parcel of Anambra people. And I don't know why that would be an issue. I mean, that should have been a reason why they would be even more personally involved in securing the state. But reverse was the case. And we see how when Mr. Peter Obi came, there was something that he did, a move that he did that actually spoke to me, that it was just amazing. It showed that Mr. Peter Obi is fearless. Okay, the fact that when all this was happening, it was particularly happening in Onitsha. As of that time, Onitsha was a no-go area. There's this forest, I can't remember the name, a well-left forest, yes. And during that time, Mr. Peter Obi had to move the state government house to Onitsha from where it was. He moved it to that place so that he could feel exactly what these people were going through. And that was just mind-blowing, because you know that this is the center of kidnap, and this is the center of robbery, and you are a political official, you understand, and you still have the heart to move into the heart of the heart of where all this was going on. And I really like that, because then he began to feel what these people were feeling. He began to relate with. I feel like another problem with our leaders is because they are here and we are here. They don't understand. They can't relate to what we are feeling.
That's the thing. Yes. And they just tend to act anyhow. And talking about the fact that he's a courageous person, or fearless, you can see how he goes around campaigning, and you'll be fearing for his life. Like, Peter Obi, please, be calm down. But
the time he went on a boat, he wanted to go somewhere, and he had lifeguard or something. He just went there like that, and it just goes to show that I don't think Mr. Peter Obi he thinks about his people first before himself.
Yes, himself.
And then I like that. That is, I love
it. It shows what true leadership is about.
Should be all about. I feel like, honestly, feel like in education, in secondary schools or whatever, there should be a course that is centered on leadership with Peter Obi as a case study, because there is just so much that we can learn about him from his actions and the things that he has done.
A lot of things. And this is the reason why people who do not want to vote him into power, I don't think they relate to his personality, because when you're not experienced enough, exposed enough, you don't see this, you don't value stuff like this. Imagine telling someone who is an illiterate, or someone who only talks about food, the stomach and all this. They may not understand what true leadership is about.
They will not.
And it's so crazy that the current the current candidates vying for the post of presidency, like when they come out, they're going back to the old manifesto, way of saying, okay, I'm going to give you rice, I'm going to give you apple, I'm going to give you corn and all of this nonsense thing.
No, it's not by that one again, because Nigerians we've revolved exactly because it's not business as usual. It's business unusual, like Aisha Yusufu would say.
I love that.
And they need to understand that. I feel like they're also beginning to understand that things are changing. That's why they are so scared of Mr. Peter Obi and the Obedient Movement and everything that it stands for, to the extent that they try to send thugs at him. And it's just funny because this is not new to us. No matter what you do, it's not going to deter us. It's not going to. Someone said something, someone in diaspora said something. When I asked her a question about the whole violence and how it's going to affect people voting on that day, she said that she feels that Nigerians are ready for these people.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, you know, when you keep giving somebody antibiotic, your body develops resistance to that. So I feel like it's the same thing with Nigerians. That is not great. Well, what people did in NSAS will not work.
Even in NSAS, like if you watch almost all the clips, right, you see people are still moving forward. Yes, I saw like a lot of them, and I don't know, that day I wanted to go for the NSAS store. I don't know what stopped me, but then I saw videos of people. They were like, you will not, I want to paraphrase it right now. They were like, you cannot kill us, you cannot kill our vibe, you cannot kill the passion, you cannot kill the fire. No matter how much you throw stuff at us, we're still going to come back. And the person that was videoing this thing was limping. It shows that the person has been shot already. But then the fire was still there.
The fire was still there.
It's amazing.
Because even when the toll gate light was turned off, they sat down on that ground when it was turned off, and all those things were happening. And I feel like Nigerian has showed us, let me say this in a lighter note, shege, to the extent that we didn't even expect the level of shege Nigeria government has shown us. So Aisha Yusuf said something. She said that Muhammadu Buhari, the president of the country, is the #1 campaigner for Mr. Peter Obi.
Indirectly, actually.
Yes, his bad governance has opened people's eyes to this. And if you can't see that there is a need for a change, then you need checkup for real. You might need help. Okay, because this thing it has gotten to an extent that all of us need to wake up to the call for a new order.
Okay, let's move further to the security issue.
Okay.
So speaking about what Peter Obi did to revamp the security in Anambra State, he also tried to revamp the vigilantes. I think it was during his tenure that he collaborated with the vigilante and the policemen, and they joined together to bring protection to communities.
Right?
So it started from the grassroots, and it's something amazing. Not just the vigilante, he also collaborated with various security agencies, the police, the army, the military, and it was so massive.
It was, right?
It's amazing.
Because then I think someone also was saying how he contacted the IGP, DIG, and CP to ascertain the state of affairs on security matters. And I also heard that during that time, we had people coming in from Abuja, we had people, security personnel coming from Abuja, from Lagos, down to Anambra State when he became the governor, because there's something that I've noticed about Peter Obi. When he can't do this alone, he knows when to ask for help. Yes, he knows how to source for help. So it was during that period that he started contacting these people to come into Anambra State and salvage the situation. So yes, that was really, it was a wise step on his part. Yes.
Amazing, thank you for that. Okay, I think we're going to go on a very short break, and when we come back, we'll dissect more. But then, the security aspect of what Peter Obi has done, I think we have exhausted just a bit of them, but when we come back, we'll just touch more and we'll close for today. We'll be right back.
Mr. Peter Obi's administration built from scratch Chukwuemeka Odumegwu University Teaching Hospital with 25 building structures. His government funded transformation of massive infrastructural development, accreditation of 12 health institutions and 2 hospitals, and also built 10 maternal and childcare centers across the state. He is the first governor to purchase medical equipment worth over 135 million naira and 50 ambulances for the health sector in Anambra State, which remain functional till today. He built and equipped Dr. John Wilo Heart Center in St. Joseph Hospital, Adazi-Nnukwu, where heart operations are performed. Anambra State is the first state in Nigeria to distribute more than 30,000 computers to secondary schools. Mr. Peter Obi distributed about 700 buses to secondary schools in Anambra State and built 200 primary school blocks. He donated the sum of 300 million naira to Anglican churches and 440 million naira to Roman Catholic churches to rehabilitate their missionary schools. During his tenure, he gave 1 million naira each to more than 160 first-class graduates. To promote reading culture in the state, he went ahead to build a well-equipped library known as Prof. Kennedy Dike Library, Awka. He also rehabilitated the divisional library in Onitsha and gave 500,000 naira to each secondary school in the state to provide library materials. This boosted the student performance from the 26th position in Nigeria to the first position. The security improvement was exceptional as he provided security vehicles to 177 communities in the state. He cleared pension and gratuity owed since 1990 to the tune of about 37 billion naira and also paid monthly stipends to the elderly in the state. Mr. Peter Obi built the first secretariat complex in Anambra State to house the various Anambra State government ministries that were scattered all over the state. His good governance attracted the second largest brewery in the world, known as Sab Miller, to build their first greenfield facility in the state. He was recognized by the Millennium Development Goals (MDG) as the best governor in the implementation of their programs in Nigeria. Peter Obi constructed 2 bridges across the popular Agulu Lake in Anyocha local government area of Anambra State at the cost of 2 billion naira. He funded Agulu Lake Hotel Project, Golden Tulip, and reconstruction of Upper Iweka bridges at the axis of Enugu-Onitsha Expressway with 6 lanes. Peter Obi constructed 800-kilometer of road network between rural and urban areas. Some of the roads include Ibariam Internal Road, Ekulobia Ezinifite Road, Niger Drive Onitsha, Ifite Dunu Road, construction of Zik Avenue and Mpo Flyover, 30 verifiable bridges, Ezu Ebenebe Bridge, Awka North, Isu Anyocha Bridge, Opaka River Bridge, pedestrian bridge at permanent site Unizik Junction, Awka. He created industrial parks as catalysts for industrialization. He constructed and commissioned the Governor's Lodge and Annex Onitsha, FMR Customary Court of Appeal Complex, High Court buildings at Nnewi and Ogidi, Judges' Quarters at Onitsha. His visionary leadership brought unprecedented transformation to the local government in Anambra State. He made provision for 1.2 billion naira credit facilities to farmers in the state and cleared a 20 million naira debt owed banks as a result of the 2012 flood devastation. Peter Obi's administration purchased 90 buses and taxis for Anis Mass Transit Company. He adopted the best practice in waste disposal and provided over 300 million naira worth of waste evacuation trucks. The Debt Management Office rated Anambra as the least indebted state in Nigeria. Mr. Peter Obi handed 75 billion naira to his successor, Mr. Willie Obiano. The credibility and reputation of Peter Obi as a competent visionary leader in public service governance and management of state resources remains undisputable.
And we've been talking about all the things that are past Peter Obi has done in the past, right? His achievements so far. Yesterday we talked about the we've been talking about the health sector, security, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So, you know, there are a lot of things that Peter Obi has done so far, and we mentioned the first one. We mentioned the fact that he eradicated kidnapping and robbery. That even I think it was up to 5 years that that security was just so perfect in Anambra State. Yes. And now let's also go further to the fact that he provided armored protection carriers,
yes, which was unusual at that time.
It was really unusual, and it helped the security agency to, you know, further help them in their operation. Yeah. So you wanted to say something because we were discussing about something else.
Yeah, I was talking about how, you know, the present state of Sambisa Forest, and I was talking about how then in Anambra State, the Akpakpa, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, forest was just like the Sambisa Forest.
Really?
Because, yes, that place was where, if they kidnapped somebody, that's where they would take you to. Yes, that was their camp. So, yeah, it was that terrible.
So they attacked there?
No, I'm talking about how the police,
like
yes, they went, they had an operation there, and although during an interview he said how it injured one of them, but they were able to bounce back. That's how tough that place was. So
you know, Peter Obi has been talking about the fact that he knows how to deal with security issue in Nigeria, and it's so amazing. Like he knows his onions, he knows what he's supposed to do, and sometimes I am clueless. Like if you put me in that position, I definitely wouldn't know what to do. But anyway, I think we've said enough of what we have to say today, and we'll be rounding up. I hope that you enjoyed all we've said so far. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platform, Obidati Family TV, and you can follow me on Instagram, Jessica__.
And you can follow me as Sharon Enemchukwu on all social media platforms.
Yeah. So while you're following us, don't forget to tell us where you've been watching from. Till we come your way tomorrow. Stay blessed. Bye.
Bye.